He has been feeding us dead vultures. As roasted chicken. Evil! Those were the words that escaped Nima's mouth when he saw Alhaji Gambo that morning. He had only rushed to the shop to buy roasted chicken for his family. But what he saw made his blood run cold. Gambo was dragging dead vultures from a dirty sack onto his butcher table, plucking their black feathers and tossing their dead bodies into a big fridge, preparing them to roast and sell as chicken. Nima gasped in shock, but his foot knocked against a metal pan, and in that moment, he knew he could be in danger. If Gambo caught him there, his secret might never leave that place alive, and Nima himself could be butchered like meat. But guess what? Even when Gambo was caught and he denied it, he was asked to eat the same chicken he claimed to sell to others, and he refused. He didn't even want it close to his mouth. Stay with me till the end of this true life tale, because it will open your eyes and make you think twice before buying roasted chicken or meat anyhow again. Remember, not every sweet aroma you smell in the market is truly what it seems. Welcome to African Tales by Amade. Please like, share, and subscribe. It was a bright morning in the busy town of Kambiri. Traders had already arranged their wares along the roads leading to the great motor park. The air was full of noise, bargaining, shouting, and the aroma coming from freshly roasted food. Among all the delicacies that day, one stall was always the center of attention. Alhaji Gambo's roasted chicken shop. Travelers stopped there. Children begged their mothers for it. Even people from nearby towns passed through Kambiri just to buy his roasted chicken. But on this particular morning, something strange happened. A customer, Nima, rushed into Gambo's big shop. He had promised his wife and children that he would bring home roasted chicken before they left for a family gathering. He entered, but to his surprise, Gambo was not standing at the front of the stall as usual. The fire was burning, the smoke rose, but no one was there to welcome him. Nima frowned. "Where's this man? He doesn't come out late like this," he muttered. Curious, he decided to check behind the shop. The back door that was always closed and locked was open. Slowly, he walked past the counter and peeked into the back. And at that moment, what he saw nearly made him scream. Alhaji Gambo was bent over a large sack. He dragged out something heavy and black-feathered. To Nema's shock, it was a dead vulture. Nema covered his mouth with his hand. His heart raced. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. He watched in disbelief as Gambo dropped the bird onto his butcher table, its claws sticking out stiffly. With frightening speed, Gambo plucked some feathers, chopped the bird into pieces, and tossed the meat into a giant fridge. From another sack, he pulled out 2 more vultures and laid them side by side, preparing them like ordinary chicken. The smell of the birds mixed with the smoke of the fire. Nema's stomach turned. He whispered under his breath, "My God! So this is what people have been eating from this man ever since. My God! This is evil!" Fear gripped him. If Gambo discovered he was watching, his life might be in danger. He tried to step back quietly, but his shoe suddenly brushed against a metal pan on the ground, and it made a faint sound. Gambo stopped suddenly. His head turned. He narrowed his eyes, scanning the area. Nema's heart pounded. His knees trembled as he bent behind a wooden crate, praying silently, "God, please don't let him see me. Don't let him see me." For a moment, Gambo sniffed the air like a wild animal sensing a threat. His butcher knife was in his hand as if ready to slice anything or anyone he sees. His eyes moved from left to right. Then he shook his head, muttered to himself, and went back to plucking feathers. Nema seized the chance. He tiptoed backward, then turned and sprinted out of the stall, running as fast as his legs could carry him. He didn't even stop to buy anything. That day, Nema could not eat. Every bite of food made him remember what he had seen. He imagined the faces of people he knew, the face of his wife, his children, his friends, all smiling and licking their fingers while eating dead roasted vultures, thinking it was chicken, as he sat on the bed, restless. His wife, Doris, noticed his mood. "My husband, what is it?" You look troubled. Did something happen at the shop? She asked. Naima shook his head, avoiding her eyes. No, nothing. It's just work stress, he whispered. But inside him, fear was eating him alive. He couldn't bring himself to say a word about what he saw. He was scared. Gambo was not just a rich meat seller, he was a simple but dangerous man. And getting on his path meant that his life and the life of his family could be in danger. Kambiri was a town that never slept. During the day, it was full of trading and shouting. At night, fires glowed along the motor park as vendors roasted meat, yam, and corn for travelers. But no food was loved more than roasted chicken. It was the pride of the town. Children sang about it, women carried it home for supper, and travelers spread the word to other towns. But aside roasted chicken being the pride of the town, there was something they see as an abomination in the land. Vultures. They do not just see vulture as an abomination, as is it in other places, they forbid it. Roasted chicken was the thriving meat for the people. When people mentioned roasted chicken, one name came to mind: Alhaji Gambo. Gambo was a man respected in the community. He was always neat, well-dressed in flowing kaftans, and spoke softly to his customers. His roasted chicken looked perfect, golden brown, crispy skin, and juicy inside. The smell alone could draw a hungry traveler from a mile away. And the price? That was the real miracle. While other vendors sold chicken legs for 1,000 naira, Gambo sold them for just 500. His whole grilled chicken was almost the same price as one leg from other shops. People rushed him. Why spend more when Gambo gives plenty for small money? They would say. The more people bought, the more his fame spread. Of course, other vendors were not happy. They gathered in corners and murmured. How is he selling this cheap? Is he running a secret farm? One asked. Maybe he is using charm. Look how his shop never empties, another grumbled. But when they tasted his meat, it was sweet. No one could deny it. Customers ignored the rumors and kept buying. Still, some people noticed strange things. Sometimes the meat tastes bitter, one woman whispered. Sometimes it smells somehow, another replied. But they always concluded with the same excuse. Maybe it's just the spices. No one wanted to believe anything bad about Gambo. As the months passed, Gambo's business grew beyond imagination. He started with just one stall. Soon he had 3 shops at different bus stops, all crowded with people. He employed young boys to serve customers, but never allowed them to prepare the meat. Olga, let us help you! You are stressing yourself, one of them begged. But Gambo shouted in fury, just sell what I give you! Don't ever ask questions. The boys became suspicious. One swore he once saw claws sticking out of a sack before Gambo quickly pushed it away. But they were afraid to talk. The rival vendors also noticed things. They saw strange black feathers in his waste bin. They heard travelers complain that sometimes the meat doesn't look like chicken. But Gambo's loyal customers laughed it off. Jealousy. You people just envy his success, they said. They always had his back, always defended his meat, and Gambo's business continued to grow while the other vendors lost customers every day. It was around this time that Gambo's attention turned to a young widow named Mariam. Mariam was beautiful, outspoken, and desired by many men. One of Gambo's rivals, a vendor named Sule, had been dating her. The whole market thought she would soon accept him. But Gambo moved fast. He showered her with gifts, sweet words, and, of course, roasted chicken. Mariam's friends warned her, this Gambo is too generous. Please be careful. But Mariam brushed them aside. There's nothing to be careful about. Gambo is a real man. He takes care of me. He is better than all those other men. One day, Sule came to her with flowers, but Mariam laughed in his face. Keep your flowers. I'm no longer interested in whatever thing we had together. My Gambo gives me more than that. He is the king of roasted chicken in Kambiri. You, Sule, should go and learn from him. Her words cut deep. Sewell couldn't believe those words would ever come out from the mouth of the very woman he had claimed to love. He walked away in shame. From that day, Miriam stood boldly by Gambo. She boasted in the market that he was the best in town, and no one could compete with him. Her pride grew even more, and with every boast, Gambo's confidence also grew. One afternoon, Miriam invited her friends to eat at Gambo's stall. Gambo welcomed them warmly and served them free plates of roasted meat. As they ate, one of the friends frowned. She held up a piece of meat and whispered, "Miriam, look at this leg. It looks strange. It doesn't look like chicken at all." But Miriam's eyes flashed. She dropped her plate angrily. "How dare you insult my man's food? Do you think it's easy to buy chicken these days, talk less of eating it for free? This is the best chicken in Kambiri. If you don't like it, don't eat it. In fact, don't ever step into my Gambo's shop again." Her friends looked at one another and quietly left. Miriam went back to eating, smiling proudly. To her, she was very much lucky to always eat free chicken meat, something that was an expensive delicacy. But in that moment, she didn't notice the way Gambo's eyes stared at her and looked around nervously. But unknown to her, her love story was about to turn into what she never expected. Days turned into weeks, and Alhaji Gambo's business only grew bigger. Every evening, long lines formed in front of his stalls. Hungry travelers, market women, children, and even visitors from nearby towns all stood waiting. "Give me 2 chickens," they would call out. "Please make mine 3, and hurry with my order," another would shout out. The air around his stall was always full of smoke, sizzling meat, and laughter. But behind that success, whispers still traveled from ear to ear. Other vendors sat together counting their few sales. Sule, the rejected suitor of Miriam, shook his head. "Brothers, this thing isn't clear. How is he selling so cheap? How can one man alone supply all these shops every day? And because of him, Miriam had even rejected me." His friend Bala spat on the ground. I also don't trust him. Last week, one customer returned his meat, saying it tasted bitter, but he still went back to buy the next day. This Gambo must be using something strange. An older vendor leaned closer and whispered, "Last night, I saw feathers behind his stall. They were not chicken feathers. They were too black and too long." The men exchanged troubled glances, but none of them dared to challenge Gambo directly. His fame was too great, and his customers remained too loyal. Meanwhile, the young man, Nima, who had seen the truth that morning, still carried his secret like a heavy stone in his chest. Every time he passed by Gambo's shop and saw crowds buying meat, his stomach twisted. He would whisper to himself, "If only they knew. If only they saw what I saw." He was too scared to speak. He feared for his life and that of his family. He became quiet and careful. His wife noticed and asked him if something was bothering him. He shook his head and whispered, "My dear, there are some things too heavy to say. Let us just be careful where we eat." But inside, he was fighting with himself. Should he expose Gambo? Would anyone even believe him? If no one did and stepped out with him to stand against the mighty Gambo, then his life would be at stake. He had heard stories of people being butchered like animals for rising to expose men like Gambo, and he feared he could be walking into the same trap if he ever exposed him. As for Miriam, she was lost in her own world. Gambo showered her with attention, gifts, and free chicken meat. When she walked through the market holding his hand, she would lift her chin high, proud of her new lover. Her friends didn't stop advising her to open her eyes, but she would roll them and say they wanted to spoil her love life with her rich meat seller and wave them off. "You are just jealous." "Leave me alone. My Gambo is better than all of you combined," she said. She defended him fiercely, even when rumors of strange meat floated in the market. One evening, when her friends tried to warn her again, she shouted at them, Don't ever bring such nonsense to me again. Gambo's meat is pure, and his heart is pure too. If you don't like it, then stay away from us." Her friends sighed. Mariam was too blinded by love to listen. Soon, excitement filled Kambiri. The annual park festival was approaching. It was the biggest celebration in town, always filled with music, dance, games, and feasting. The chief of the motor park always sponsored the event, and food was shared freely with everyone. This year, the chief made an announcement. For this festival, our beloved Alhaji Gambo will supply the roasted chicken for the crowd. His food is the pride of Kambiri. The crowd cheered loudly. People clapped and shouted, "Yes! Nobody roasts chicken like Gambo. This festival will be the sweetest ever." But among the other vendors, bitter silence spread. They looked at one another in defeat. Sewell clenched his fists. "So he has taken even the festival from us? There's something about this man that isn't pure, and I am very certain about it," he muttered. The night before the festival, Nima could not sleep. The memory of vultures on the butcher table haunted him. He turned to his wife and finally told her everything, the abomination he saw with his own eyes that morning. "Doris, I cannot keep quiet anymore. Tomorrow, at the festival, I must tell the chief what I saw. If I stay silent, the whole town will eat this wickedness. And who knows what would happen next?" His wife grabbed his arm in fear. "My husband, please, be careful. What if nobody believes you? What if Gambo tries to harm you?" But Nema shook his head. "Better to be mocked than to watch innocent people eat death. I have kept silent enough," he whispered in a shaky voice. Though his mind was made up, but he still feared about what the outcome would be. The next morning, as the sound of music filled the air, Nema went to the park. His heart raced. The festival grounds were decorated with colorful clothes. Children danced, women clapped, and men beat drums. The smell of food filled the air. At the center, Alhaji Gambo stood proudly beside rows of roasted chicken. His boys served plates to the crowd. The chief himself sat on a high chair, smiling at the celebration. Nema stepped forward, his voice shook as he spoke. "My chief, forgive me for speaking, but I must warn this town. This man, Gambo, is deceiving us. What he sells is not chicken. It is vulture." Gasps spread among the officials sitting with the chief. Some laughed, others frowned. The chief raised his hand for silence and spoke. His voice was low so as not to attract the attention of the rest of the people gathered to celebrate this great day. "What nonsense is this?" he thundered. "Do not spoil our festival with lies, young man. Everyone here knows Gambo's meat. Leave this place at once before you cause trouble." Nema's heart sank. He tried again. "But my chief, I saw it with my own eyes. He keeps dead vultures in his fridge, roast, and sell them as chicken to the people and innocent travelers that pass through the route. You should search and see for yourself." But the chief banged his staff on the ground. "I said shut your mouth. Go away before I order you out." The chief officials shook their heads in confusion. Nema bowed his head in pain and stepped aside. Meanwhile, Gambo kept serving, but sweat gathered on his forehead the moment he saw the young man point towards his roasted chicken. For the first time, his hands trembled slightly as he turned the roasted meat on the fire, but he tried to stay composed. Then it happened. As Gambo's boys carried plates around, one small boy grabbed a piece and shouted, "Mama, look! This chicken has strange claw!" The mother turned and screamed. She held up the meat and everyone saw it. A black, curved claw sticking from the roasted flesh. The crowd gasped. People dropped their plates instantly. "Ha! What is this? Is that a vulture claw? My God, what have we been eating all these years?" Panic spread through the festival ground. Some began spitting on the ground. Others cried out in disgust. All eyes turned to Gambo. It looked as if he wasn't careful enough this time to make sure there was no element of trace to his evil meat. He had forgotten to remove all the claws as usual. "Alhaji Gambo, so you have been selling vultures to us all this while?" Voices roared. Mariam's face went pale. She looked at the claw, then at Gambo. Her lips trembled. But Gambo raised his hands. His voice was desperate. "Vulture! No, no, my people, I can never do such a thing. This is chicken. Chickens sometimes look different." "Liar!" someone shouted. "Eat it then! If it is chicken, eat it yourself!" The crowd pressed forward in anger. The chief himself stood up, his face darkened with rage. "Bring him to me, now!" he commanded. Two strong men grabbed Gambo by the arms and dragged him before the chief's seat. The festival ground, once full of music and laughter, now shook with cries of anger and disbelief. And for the first time, Gambo's secret stood on the edge of being fully revealed. He stood before the chief, trembling. Sweat ran down his forehead and soaked his caftan. His once proud shoulders drooped like those of a defeated man. In that moment, the chief spoke. "Alhaji Gambo," he thundered, his voice sounding across the crowd. "Since the day you came to this town, we welcomed you as one of us. We trusted you. We celebrated your food. And now, this claw we see," he held it up for all to witness. "This is no chicken claw. What do you have to say for yourself?" The crowd roared. "Yes! Answer us! Explain yourself!" Gambo's lips quivered as he stammered. "My chief, my people, this is a mistake. It is chicken, I swear. Some chickens have strange parts, maybe this one." But the people shouted at him again. "Lies! Do you think we are fools? Eat it yourself if it is chicken." The chief raised his staff, silencing them. His eyes bore into Gambo's. "Very well. If it is truly chicken, then eat it here, now, before your people." The words struck Gambo like thunder. His knees weakened. He looked at the roasted meat in the chief's hand, then looked away quickly. His throat tightened. I cannot," he whispered. He refused to eat the same meat he had been selling to people, including innocent travelers who stopped by to buy his so-called roasted chicken for years. The crowd erupted in rage. "Ha! He cannot eat it! Yet he made us eat it all these years! Wicked man!" The noise grew so loud the ground seemed to tremble. Even Miriam, who had been standing proudly at his side, stepped back in shock. Her face was pale, her hands trembled. For the first time, she suddenly realized something was terribly wrong. She stared at Gambo with wide eyes. Her voice was weak as she spoke. "Gambo, so is it true? So you've been giving me something as evil as this, all in the name of love? All these times you gave me roasted vultures as chicken, and you never once ate it yourself. I thought you were just tired, or fasting, but now..." Her voice broke. Tears filled her eyes as the bitter truth sank in. Her friends in the crowd watched silently. They had warned her, but she never listened. Now she stood humiliated in front of the whole town. Miriam covered her face with her hands. She felt like the ground should open and swallow her. At that moment, Nema, the young man who had seen Gambo that morning, pushed his way forward. His voice rang out above the noise. "My chief, my people, I said it. Believe me, I saw it with my own eyes. That very morning I went to buy chicken from his shop. When I did not find him at the front of his stall, I went to the back. There he was, dragging dead vultures from a sack, placing them on his table and stocking more inside his fridge." Gasps filled the air. The crowd murmured angrily. Heads nodded. This time, they began to see the whole truth clearly. The chief's face darkened. He turned to his guards. "Go! Search his fridge at once. Bring whatever you find," he ordered. The young men ran to Gambo's stall, and the people held their breath, waiting. Moments later, the boys returned, dragging sacks in their hands. They dropped them on the ground and opened them. The crowd cried out in horror. Inside were half-burnt vultures, some with feathers still clinging to their wings, others with claws curled stiffly. Their smell rose into the air, thick and offensive. Even those that didn't believe it at first were looking at the truth bare now. Women screamed and covered their noses. Men spat on the ground in disgust. Children clung to their mothers, frightened by the sight. The chief pointed at the sacks and blurted, "Alhaji Gambo, What is this? Answer me now! This moment, Gambo couldn't deny the evil anymore. He collapsed to his knees, his strength was finally gone. Tears filled his eyes as he shook his head miserably. My chief, my people, forgive me. It is true. I did it. I caught vultures in the bush, sometimes already dead ones, and I roasted them as chicken. I did it because real chicken was too expensive. I only wanted to make quick profit. The crowd roared in disgust. You devil! We trusted you with our stomachs. All these years, we have been eating vultures? You're evil! People bent over, gagging. Some tried to vomit. Others covered their faces, shaking their heads in disbelief. Fury spread through the festival. They shouted in rage and disbelief about what they just heard. One old man beat his chest as he spoke. My wife died after eating his chicken last year. Maybe this was the cause. Another woman screamed. My children ate his food every day. Oh God, what have we fed them with? The crowd surged forward, but the chief raised his staff again to calm them. Still, the anger in the people's eyes burned like flames. As for Miriam, she stood frozen. Her pride was crushed into dust. She couldn't even look into the faces of anyone in the crowd, or even the young man, Sul. She had insulted and humiliated because of Gambo. Her friend's words to be careful with Gambo echoed in her mind. Instead of listening, she had also insulted them, mocked them, and boasted of her lover, and now, before the whole town, she was the biggest fool. She turned and walked away slowly, bowing her head in shame. The crowd parted to let her pass, whispering and mocking her. And she even defended him. She even insulted others for his sake. Serves her right. Miriam did not look up. She had no strength left. The scene that had unfolded right before her eyes was humiliating. She finally saw the true man that had made her believe none of her friends were worth her class. And not just that, because of her insatiable hunger for free meat, she lost a good man that was coming for her hand in marriage again to Gambo. And now, reality was dawn on her. The chief looked down at Gambo, who knelt trembling before him, and he gave his judgment. Alhaji Gambo, he said slowly, his voice thundered through the crowd. You have betrayed this town. You sold death to your brothers and sisters. You deceived us, grew rich from our ignorance, and laughed at our trust. For this you shall never again be called a food seller in Kambiri. He turned to the guards. Burn down his stalls. Destroy every sign of his business. He is banned from selling food in this land forever. The people cheered as the judgment relieved them of their anger. The guards dragged Gambo away as he cried for mercy, but no one listened. His voice was swallowed by the noise of the crowd, and as the sun set over Kambiri that evening, the smoke from Gambo's burning stalls rose into the sky, like a firm warning to anyone who might try such wickedness again. And the once busy corners of the motor park where people used to gather for roasted chicken now stood empty, covered with ashes and broken wood. The people of Kambiri were still in shock. The betrayal was deep. For years they had trusted one man with their stomachs, only to learn they had been eating vultures. In the days that followed, whispers filled the market. Some even tried to cleanse themselves with herbs, believing they had been cursed by eating the unclean bird. Others swore they would never again buy roasted meat from any vendor if they aren't sure of its source or see it themselves. The laughter and appetite that once filled the park was gone, replaced by suspicion and fear of eating the unknown. For Miriam, it was not only humiliation but also a painful lesson. She had chosen sweet words over wisdom, free meat over truth and love, and now she bore the scars. Moral of the story. Dear friends, this tale reminds us to be more cautious about what we eat, especially chicken meat. No one should deceive you. If a seller cannot eat what he sells, then you too must not taste it. The lesson spread beyond food. It teaches us that not everything that smells sweet is safe for the stomach. We should always ask questions and be mindful because evil too wears a smiling mask. And never let love blind you. Because when it does, it takes the good things from you, then smiles and feeds you with poison like it did to Miriam. Do not let gifts and sweet words close your eyes to the truth. What do you think of this story? Did it open your eyes? If you were there that day, what punishment would you have wanted to be given to Gambo? Do you think banishment was enough, or should he have faced something worse? Have you ever suspected a seller of giving you something strange? Drop your thoughts in the comments and share your own experience with street food. And don't forget, like this video and subscribe to African Tales by Emiday for more lessons and eye-opening stories that not only entertain, but also teach. Till next time, stay wise, stay safe, and be careful of the food you buy.